Hello again, and welcome back to Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger. Again, the date is March 19, 2023, and I have been busy since our previous video, which was a Survival Sunday. I did upload a short video with some photos of the knife that we showed in the Survival Sunday. So if you want, you can check that out. But more importantly, I've uploaded a newly edited short video of my artist bio with some professionally shot footage and uh, some of my artwork showing in that video. So this will be the official art bio going forward from here on out. So if you guys have not seen it, then uh, take a look. It's a video right before this video on the channel. Uh, Actually, no, I think it's two videos before. It's called the uh, Tiger Tactile Introduction Artist File. So, yeah, you guys feel free, take a look, and hope you guys enjoy that. I know it's been a bit of a long haul to get this whole art venture started, but we're getting there. We're getting some places, and hopefully things will move on even more smoothly once we can get our website constructed, and you guys can then head over to the website to purchase the artwork directly from there. Um, so today I want to talk a little bit about the kind of emotional trauma and tribulation an immigrant such as myself. Yes, I still consider myself an immigrant, even though I have been here in Canada over 30 years. But uh, you know, I still don't feel like I fit in a lot of the times. Um, Emotional traumas and tribulations. This is a big part of why a lot of immigrants, uh, even after so many years, can still feel sad about being an immigrant. Uh, a lot of these emotional uh, uh, tripwires, minefield that we had to go through when we first started, uh, leave a lot of scars. Some of these scars are very deep. It takes a long time for them to go away if they ever go away. And the crazy thing is, I am not even going to be mentioning prejudice and racism and uh, job opportunity, the inequality in job hunting, the inadequacy in not having a solid family or social connection. I'm not even going to be mentioning any of that. Okay, the five, uh, the five emotional tribulations and trauma I'm going to be talking about. All of them, all five of them, originate from within. Uh, all of them either come straight from within the person, the immigrant, him or herself, or for an even larger part, come from inside the family. Okay? Uh, and I'm going to talk about this. Now, this is not going to apply for everybody, of course, and uh, I would say this probably apply more towards the children of immigrants, those of those people like me, who got dragged kicking and screaming to come to Canada when I was very little. So probably won't apply to those that choose to come here themselves as an adult and stuff like that. Those are even though we are all immigrants, but it's a little bit different. Emotional trauma. Number one is the helplessness and the grief. Okay, I lump them into one category: the helplessness and the grief, because they go hand in hand. As I mentioned, I came here at a very young age. My father did not consult me about moving to Canada. My father did not consult any of us about moving to Canada. Uh, Basically, my life was very normal, and then suddenly one day, my dad hired me an English tutor and said, "You need to learn English. We're going to Canada." And yeah, at that time, I really didn't feel one way or another about it because I had no concept of what how far away was Canada. Uh, in my young mind, in my 7-year old mind, I was thinking, like, are we moving to Canada? Like, okay, so does that mean like we can come back to Taiwan to visit every weekend or every month? Like, how does that work? Like, he can't mean that we just go and never come back, right? I mean, my grandparents are here, aunt and uncles are here, my best friends are here, my nanny Maru is here. What's he talking about? Like, yeah, he must mean moving to Canada, but we get to come back every weekend. Yeah, that makes sense. Made sense in my 7-year old mind, right? Other than that, I had no idea what or where Canada was. So he told me to learn English from this tutor, so I learned English from this tutor. There was no alarm bell. There was no alarm bells going off in my mind at that time. And even when I tried to ask my mom, uh, what's this moving to Canada business? And my mom just said, "Oh, you'll like it. You'll like it. Canada is like USA. It's like America. You'll really like it." I asked my mom, you know, what about my friends, my family? Oh, you'll get to see them. You'll get to come back. So, like the way my mom made it seem like it was nothing to worry about. I asked my nanny Maru. Maru couldn't tell me anything about Canada. She never been to Canada. Uh, to Maru, Canada was made about as much sense as Japan or Philippines. To her, there's no difference. They're not Taiwan. That's it. Tried to ask my dad, and my dad to say, just give me something vague about you move to Canada, you get a good education, and grow up and make a lot of money. So all this is me saying my 7-year old self at the time felt no alarm. Like I wasn't prepared. Okay, mentally I wasn't prepared until the one day we were actually leaving, getting on the plane, and I somehow knew that there were a lot of people I would never see them again. And it struck me, and I didn't want to go. I wanted to stay, and then my dad had to grab me by the hand and drag me through custom airport security. And, yeah, it was really sad. It was like getting kidnapped by your own father. Um, so there was a huge amount of sadness saying goodbye to all the people, all the things that you were familiar with, never knowing when you would see them again. Helplessness, because there wasn't a damn bit of thing I could do. It's not like I could go to a police officer and say, "Help! I don't want to go to Canada. My dad wanted to take me to Canada, but I don't want to go." No, you can't do that. Then the police officer will just take you back to your dad and tell him to hold on to his kids and maybe give you a pat on the head and say, "Oh, you should go with your dad. I wish someone would take me to Canada." Yeah. So there wasn't a damn bit I could do about it. So, yeah, emotional trauma number one, grief, helplessness. Emotional trauma number two, and this came very quickly on the heel of the grief and hopelessness, helplessness. Number two is the rage and resentment. Any kind of negative, violent emotion you can pack, it goes right here. Rage, resentment. After getting to Canada, after being settled in, okay, after I got over being sad, now I was getting mad. I didn't want to stay here. I didn't want to be here. I wanted my friend. I wanted my mom. I wanted my nanny. I wanted my grandparent. I wanted my aunt and uncle. I wanted to go home. So this was me rebelling, doing everything in my power to piss people off, to break the rule, break the law, trying to get someone to please just deport me. Please just throw me back to Taiwan. I don't want to be here. Okay, so this is the rage, getting mad phase that me and a lot of immigrant children like myself who got taken to another country without our consent had to go through. And this would be the phase where some people like me would be lucky enough to snap out of it sooner or later and say, hey, you know what? Doesn't seem like there's a way back. I should make the best of it and try to settle down. Some people, some other children never snap out of it. They go on to join gangs, do drugs, do alcohol, and some of them don't even live long enough to grow up. Very, very dark phase that some of us have to go through. Emotional trauma. Number three, the fear, the threat. Okay, so this is assuming that you eventually work through stage number two, right? You eventually work your way through being angry, and you decide, okay, let's settle down, make some friends, and learn what I can, go to school, get a good grade. When you finally decide all that, then your parents turn around and threaten you with, I'm going to take you back to Taiwan if you don't freaking listen to me. If you don't get straight A in school, I'm taking your ass back to Taiwan. If you don't clean up after dinner, I'm taking you back to Taiwan. If you don't uh, get an A in math, I'm taking you back to Taiwan. If you keep on making noises when I'm trying to work, I'm taking you back to Taiwan. And you know what's going to happen to you back there? Yeah, I'm going to beat the crap out of you when I take you back to Taiwan. I can't hit you here in Canada. I can hit you all I want when I take you back to Taiwan. Yeah, ironic, isn't it? First, you drag me screaming and kicking over to a strange country, and then you do all you can to hold me here when I was resenting and this and angry, and I wanted to rebel, I wanted to go back. But now, when I'm actually trying to stay, when I'm trying to work hard to to build a good life here, you threaten me with taking me back there? This is like so unfair. I didn't realize this, but the more I'm talking about this, the more I get angry. Like I'm seriously getting pissed just talking about this. It's so unfair. It's so ironic. It's just wrong on so many levels. But this is not it, because phase number four, the emotional trauma number four, is the shame. Okay, so let's say he does. Let's say they don't threaten you with taking you back to Taiwan. They use the shame tactic. You know, you go to your parent and say, "Hey, can I go to your field trip? My school is going on field trip. I want to go." And your parents say, or in my case, my father say, "Field trip. You think I took you to Canada to go to field trip? Other people come to Canada to study. If you want to go to field trip, I should have stayed in Taiwan, and you can go to field trip there. How about that?" I went to my dad and said, Dad, I need a supply for my art class. And my dad said, you think I took you to Canada for art? You think I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring you to Canada for art? If you want to do art, I could have just stayed in Taiwan and you could do art there. Go to my dad and say, hey, Dad, I would like to join the chess club or the swing club. And yes, you guessed it. Do you think I took you to Canada for you to swim, to play chess? You want to swim, you play chess, you could stay in Taiwan. Every time you say something, you do something he doesn't like, hit you with a shame tactic. I did this for you. How come you're not working hard? How come you're wasting time playing video game? You want to play video game? We could have stayed in Taiwan. Look how much I did for you. Even after you grow up, you still can't escape from this because after you grow up, then we come to emotional trauma. Number five, the guilt trip. Largely, this still comes from your parents. Like in my case, every time I get into an argument with my father, it has always come up. I did so well in Taiwan. I sacrificed everything. I became broke. I bankrupted myself, broke my back, taking you guys to Canada. And look where it got me. Nowhere. You guys are not a good kid. You're not fit to be a good person because you totally neglected to fulfill your end of the bargain. Remember, you were supposed to study and make a lot of money. Where's the money now? How come you're not making a lot of money? I fulfilled my part. I brought you to Canada and see what happened to you. Okay? Every time we get into argument, there's some versions of this guilt trip. And this is not just even like my parents. This guilt trip phase can happen whenever you come in contact with people in your own country, people who don't know about life in another country. So many times I travel back there or I talk on the phone with people in Taiwan, people who never been out of Taiwan, and I hear things like, "What? You teach? You're just over there teaching martial art? What did you go to Canada for? Aren't you supposed to be like successful and really rich? If I was you, if I got to go to Canada, I'd be a lawyer or a president by now. What have you been doing with your life? Jeez, you're such a failure." Like you hear so many different versions of this that in the end you don't even want to talk to your own countrymen because you feel that guilt trip again, again, and again, like hammering away at an anvil. Uh, and yeah, it's horrible. So this is just a small taste, okay? I know this is heavy stuff, but this is a small taste of what us immigrants, second generation Canadian, those of us that have to be naturalized. This is a small sample of why we are so unhappy sometimes, uh, and why it takes so long for us to get over. There are a lot of people, Canadian Americans, uh, uh, people who have natural citizenship, they say things like, "You should be glad that you're here. You look at what you can do here. Look at the freedom you have. You should be happy that our country let you in." No, you jackass. I shouldn't be happy because I didn't want to be here in the first place. I made a choice to stay and make the best of it because that was the only thing to do. And now I'm caught in this uh, dead ended corner that I'm trapped here because it's too late for me to go back. If I had to choose again, I wouldn't be here in the first place. Like I said, this is not the same for those people that choose to come of their own accord, but to those of us that got dragged kicking and screaming and crying to come here at a young age, this is something that weighs on our mind quite often. I hope this episode, even though it's a little bit heavy, emotional, yet somewhat enlightening on why do we feel the way we do. Thank you, and have a good night. I'll be back tomorrow for some Music Monday.